Hello and welcome, everyone. So glad to have all of you here. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation today. Very excited about where we're going with this. Several of you did submit questions ahead of time, so we're going to work really hard to make sure we address all of those. And in addition to that, there were a couple of questions asking that were more pertinent to coaching certification. So I want to let you know we do have a webinar that we do on coaching certification every month, and the recording is on our YouTube channel. I'll invite you to hang on afterwards if you want to ask additional questions about that. We're going to use the 30 minutes we have right now to focus on this topic, and then I'll available to you for additional questions. So where are we going in this conversation? What we want to get out of it, first off, is an awareness of how do clients find their coaches? And then what can you do to get found? We'll talk through developing and implementing strategies for yourself. We'll share some of the support that's available to you, talk about the resources for that, and then we'll hang on and do additional question and answer. So because we have 30 minutes and that's it, we're going to dive in quick. How do clients find coaches? Well, here's what the research tells us. The top two reasons. Number one is referrals, and number two is public speaking or training. Referrals is sometimes the toughest one. We talk to a lot of coaches as they go through the program, and what's interesting is there's this fear of putting themselves out there, letting people know that they coach, or even telling people. They think, oh, I don't want to tell people because I don't want to be pushy and that kind of thing. And so it's, I think, so important as a coach to have a huge paradigm shift around that. This isn't about pushing your services. This is about letting people know they're available if they or someone they know is interested, period, dot. If they want them, great. If they don't, that's great too. It's whatever it is. And it is essential as a coach that you're willing to let people know what you do. How can anyone in any kind of business anywhere succeed without telling people what their business is and what they offer in their business? Think about it this way. Even if you're looking for a job, if you don't tell people you're looking for a job or apply for jobs, you're not going to get one, right? So it's so important simply to let people know. We find that people that do let their network know, hey, yes, I'm a coach and I'm offering coaching services, just that alone gets them clients. It's that willingness to put themselves out there. Public speaking and training are great opportunities. If you're going to do public speaking or training, the recommendation there is that it be on a topic that you want to be known for, that you want to establish your expertise in. And think also that it be a topic that is of interest for your ideal client, who they are and what they want. Because if you're known as an expert in that area, it's something they care about, then you have your greatest opportunity in terms of connecting with them around what they're seeking and connecting with them about being a coach. Now, another great way to get found is online. And of course, we'll invest some time talking about this. So very specifically, it's more the social media platforms. And here's what's tough about that. There are a lot of people that think, okay, I'm going to have this great website and that is going to take care of this for me. Well, the reality is there are so many websites. The chances of you getting found via your website are actually pretty slim. Where you will get found is when you participate in discussion groups on LinkedIn and you are visible on Facebook and on Instagram and etc. It's being visible in the social media sites that people can actually notice you. I'll give you an example. I joined a discussion group where my ideal client hangs out, participated in a discussion, had people ask me questions, and as a result, got clients. Now, while I was talking about that, I am also getting people asking about the public speaking. Where do you find opportunities? So let's talk about that for, actually, I'm going to move into developing those strategies. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you, can I save that question until I get to that slide? Is that okay? Actually, I have two of you asking similar things. So we're definitely going to go there. Let's move through very quickly how the clients are finding coaches so we can get focused on what you do. Another one is directories. So those of you that are graduates of the Center for Coaching Certification can list yourself on our Find a Certified Coach directory. Those of you that are members of the ICF, they have a directory for credentialed coaches, and you can list yourself there. Very, very important opportunities. Another opportunity for you. In terms of getting found. Now we're going to shift into the real meat of this. It's important to network. So if we think about referrals, the first thing that you want to think about when you hear the word network is you want to let your network know. You already have a network, and so letting them know what you're doing is important. You can do that a couple of ways. Where your network is connected with you on social media platforms, sometimes it's as simple as updating your profile. Sometimes it's putting out an announcement. A lot of you have networks of friends. And for many, it means being willing to craft an email and say, hey, letting you know, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm up to. Here's where I'm going with it. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Let me know, what your perception is of the website or whatever else. You could ask them for input on what you're doing, and be comfortable saying, if this is of interest to you or to anyone you know, please pass it on. Very much want to have that conversation too. It is also important to establish your online presence. Now, yes, you want a website, and people often ask that. Having a website is pretty much like saying, yeah, I'm really legit, I'm in business. And while people will not find you via your website, they will investigate your website after they found you. And so it's important in that regard. So how do they find you online? Your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook page, your Instagram, your Twitter, your YouTube, all of the big ones. And they go to those social media platforms and they engage with other people. And when you engage too, that is how they find you. So very, very important. It's important to write. Now you have a couple of ways you can do this. This actually supports you getting found online, by the way. You can write by posting a blog. You can have your own blog going on. If you do that, number one, it's fabulous because it does give your website the greatest visibility. You can also post on other people's blogs, and that is fabulous. Think about it this way. If you write a guest post and you send it to us and we put it up on our blog, we put a link back to your website. That gives your website visibility, it gives you visibility, and it gets you in front of another audience. And that's got value. So in addition to having your own blog, think about where do you want to send blogs out to other people and be a guest blogger. Tremendous value. And frankly, we look for guest blogs. We love having guest blogs and we love giving you credit for it and giving you a link to it and that kind of thing. And I know there's a lot more places like that. It is also possible to write articles and post them. Think about what you see on LinkedIn when people put an article or a paper there. Or there are sites that actually publish white papers, and you can get found through that. So it's a powerful tool, opportunity, etc., for you to get yourself out there online and increase your visibility. Now, another big one with the writing is getting published. It's really interesting when you read the research. There are people that hire coaches that will go to Amazon and do a search on books, and they will look at who the authors are and explore talking with them in terms of doing the coaching. So people get found for that. I've got somebody saying, what do you recommend in terms of coming up with ideas for what to write about? I'm going to go back to the same thing in terms of ideas for what to speak about. Who is your ideal client? What do they want to know? If they're hiring you as a coach, what do they want to know that you know? How do you want to demonstrate your credibility for them? And then, of course, what are you passionate about? Because writing about what you're passionate about will take your writing to the next level. It will totally enhance what you're doing with it. So picking a topic is going to be based on those things. It's also wonderful to brainstorm, whether simply with yourself and just start randomly writing things down, and you can sort them out later. Who cares if you actually use them or not, right? Or you could do it with other people. So to give you an example, for those of you who are graduates, we actually are doing one of these webinars in May for writing. We've been putting it out to all of our graduates saying, register for this webinar. It's going to be a workshop to help you get set up with writing. And when you write a chapter for one of our books, it gives you something you can break out into multiple blogs. You can do it as a white paper, whatever you want to do. It's a fabulous way to learn to write for publication. So really good topic. Another great way to get found is the speaking. Now, that question of where do you find those opportunities? So let's talk about that. If you think about Rotary, Rotary is an international business persons club. They have meetings every week. And every single Rotary club in every city around the world is looking for a speaker every week. So that's a great opportunity. Very much like Rotary Club, there are a lot of professional membership organizations. So you're all familiar with the International Coach Federation. Well, in addition to that, there's the Project Management Institute. There are people that belong to chapters of the Society for Human Resource Management, the Association for Talent Development. There's a professional membership organization for everything, for grant writers, for financial planners, for everything. They do conferences, they do weekly meetings, they do so many things, and they're constantly looking for speakers. So it's a matter of literally putting together a very short, simple email that you can copy and paste and send out to different people saying, hey, offering a presentation on this topic for your group. Here's my contact information. That's simple, and you just send it out. Now, is it important to tailor it to what they care about? Well, of course. And it goes back to which groups do you want to reach out to? The ones that have your ideal client. So if your ideal client is a small business owner, then Rotary makes a lot of sense. And what do they care about? Well, if your ideal client is a business owner, they probably care about things like how do they improve their bottom line? How do they increase customer retention or other similar topics? So where do you have passion? Where do you have expertise? Where do you want to be known for your expertise? And you can write on it. And the same thing you write about, you can speak on. Or if you speak on a topic, you can take that content and parlay it into a written article. So multi-purpose, your content makes sense. It saves you a lot. So think about the strategies for yourself. What are you going to actually do? For your website, yes, we talked about that. You want to have a website. What does it take to have a great website? I have had people tell me they invested $10,000 in a great website. If you're a huge business, might make sense. If you're like so many, you're in business for yourself as a coach, is that the best investment? It's back to they will check out your website typically after they find you. So if you're going to do your website planning, choose how much you're going to spend on it. Sometimes coaches will do a barter exchange with a new web developer, have the web developer do their website, and they provide coaching for them on getting their business going. That can be an option. You can also go to places like WordPress, sign up for a WordPress account and set up your own. Even if you go to something like GoDaddy or HostGator or one of those other web hosting services, you can buy a domain name for anywhere from $5 on up. You can buy a hosting package for anywhere from $5 on up each month. And typically your hosting package will include access to a number of different templates. Now, even just a few years ago, we talked about, well, the con of using a template is it's so obviously a template. The good news is with technology today, it has gotten so much better. So grabbing a template, putting in your own pictures, and they're set up where you can load things like keywords for search engine optimization, etc. And you can have a professional website. Depending on how tech savvy you are, certainly within a day, it's very possible to do. If you want to get someone else to do it, think about what budget makes sense based on what you expect to get out of it. Social media planning. I have a lot of people say to me, they have this huge fear. They're like, yeah, I don't want to put all my stuff on Facebook or whatever. Guess what? You get to choose what you put there. Literally, it's your choice. It's only got what you put up there. So you have that control. Whatever site you're going to do, think about having ahead of time a couple hours to create template information that will carry across all of your platforms. That is important because you want consistency. So for example, if LinkedIn says one thing and Facebook says something completely different, somebody might notice that. So having consistency across the platforms is important. So before you even start with your social media sites, create a document that has a very short description of your organization or your coaching services, and then a longer description. List all the different social media platforms you're going to be on and what the links are, because many of them, you can put the links to the other ones right there on your social media. You also want to link to your website from your social media platforms. So gather the information that it goes up on each platform and put it all into one document so you have it. Then you decide which social media platforms you're going to go to. LinkedIn is huge. That's a professional membership one. People have higher income levels. Those are people that are very aware of coaching and engage with coaching. So updating your LinkedIn profile if you've got one already, or creating one if you don't. Make sure it is complete, because if somebody sees your LinkedIn profile and you haven't filled in your education or written a description in terms of your experience and the other things that you do, they're going to go, yeah, this person is kind of halfway there. And what does that tell them? So they're going to stay away from it. Fill out your profile. List your experience, list your education. Consider it an online resume of letting people know who you are and what your background is. And then when you complete all the different elements of your profile, you want to start connecting with people. Connect with me, connect with other professionals you know, so that you do have those connections. Sometimes I have people say, I only connect to people I really know well. There's a pro and a con to that. On the pro side, you're really closely managing who you're connected with and who's accessing it. On the con side, how are you going to find new people and new clients that way? So there's a balance in between of taking the time to look at profiles and say, hey, do I think this person is legit? Because yes, there are people on LinkedIn and other places that are not legit, and you want to watch out for that. There's usually some pretty clear signs. So reading people's profile, looking at them, that kind of thing, and reaching out and networking with them. You invest a couple hours in creating your general profile, then a couple hours in each of the social media platforms. So let's say LinkedIn, okay, I'm going to dedicate a couple hours, put it on my calendar. I'm going to update my profile. I'm going to, do everything on there so it looks great. And then I'll send out a few invitations to connect. I'll choose a few groups to join. Now, when you choose groups to join on LinkedIn, choose two kinds of groups. One is groups that show what you do professionally. That means you want to join the Center for Coaching Certification. It shows the coaching. You want to join the International Coach Federation. Groups that are specific to the coaching. It shows on your profile. So if you're putting yourself out there as a coach, being part of that is important. Then the second type of group you want to join is the groups that your ideal client belongs to. Where are they hanging out? What are they talking about? What are their conversations? And you join those groups and you participate in the conversation. And that actually brings up the next question. People say, yeah, how much time do I put into this? So you've got your couple hours setting up your profile, doing all your initial steps. And then I'm going to say 5 minutes a day. That's it. 5 minutes a day. You go in, you check out what the discussions are, answer a question, ask a question, like a post, share a post, whatever it is, and then you move on. Then you do the same thing for the next platform. Facebook's another big one. You create your Facebook profile. You decide what information you're going to include there. It's totally your choice. And you spend your time setting that up. And same thing, 5 minutes a day. It is so easy to get on Facebook and look up 12 hours later and you haven't done anything. So you really want to be intentional about how much time. So set that up. Then you're going to do the same thing for Instagram or Twitter or YouTube or whichever other social media platforms you decide to belong to. Be super intentional about each one. When you have your website in place and your social media platforms updated, this is a great time to think about the message you want to send out to people in your network. So you're going to plan what that is. Again, a really short, simple email to people that you don't connect, that aren't connected with you on social media, to let them know. And it's really, hey, here's an update on what I'm doing. Check it out. Give me your opinion. And please, if you or someone else is interested, love to connect for that. And that's it. And then you start sending it to people so your network knows. You also want to be really intentional about the networking that you do. And networking that you do happens online through your social media profiles where you're sending out and connecting and that kind of thing. It also happens face-to-face. There are networking events in your area, in your community that you go to. When you network, okay, a couple of things. Be thinking about, okay, what do I want to accomplish in this networking event? And sometimes it's as simple, my job is going to be to go in, meet at least 3 people, learn about what they do, and when they're interested, let them know what I do. Exchange cards, I'm good. I'll feel like I accomplished something. Somebody else might go to that networking event and say, you know, my objective is to get a new client. And then you use what you learned in your professional coach training for networking. You ask them about their work, what their challenges are, what they like about it. You tie what you do to their challenges, and you set it up to have a phone call later. Now, when you're linking online, a lot of people will say, and I've got somebody doing the comment, they'll say, hey, let's have a conversation by phone, or let's set up coffee, that kind of thing. And they say, so we can talk about how we can collaborate. So here's my feedback on that. When you're going to do that, know exactly what you can offer. So if you're going to talk to somebody that sells insurance, what are you going to offer them that they care about? If you're going to talk to somebody who's a financial planner, what do you have to offer them that they care about? So if you're going to have a conversation, have a reason for having that conversation. I've had a lot of people invite conversations, and like all of you, we're all busy people. So if you're going to spend the time with somebody, make sure there's a benefit for them and know what you're looking for out of it too, and be really upfront about that. And that's absolutely okay. Somebody asked also, do you use your current profile or create a new one? So the caveat to this is your ideal is to use your current profile, update it with what you're doing with coaching, because you've already got connections, you've got a network, you've got people that know you and respect you, and now they're going to see what you're doing. That's fabulous. Every once in a while, somebody has a profile that's really just not a good profile, and then it may make sense to start over. You got to be careful with that, because then you're keeping things, 2 separate things. It gets to be more challenging and more work. So you've got options in that. Now, we talked about writing for your own blog, guest blogging in other people's places, and there are services online that simply post articles because people are looking for the content. Doesn't cost you anything. You write and you get it up there. We talked about speaking, using the same content, reaching out to groups. Now, once you've done a number of the groups in your area, such as the professional membership organizations we were talking about, a lot of people like to take it to the next level. How do you take it to the next level? Well, a lot of these groups put on conferences, and the conferences look for proposals. So when a group like PMI does a conference, it's huge. And there's a lot of people that attend, and where you speak on something that's of interest to them, it makes sense to submit a proposal. I'm currently on a conference committee for the Association of Coach Training Organizations. We put out a request for proposals all over the world, getting people who are speakers, and they're going to come and talk on the topic we're focused on this year, which is diversity and inclusion. And so we've got a fabulous lineup. That's an opportunity to take your speaking to the next level. Now, some of the meetings in your area might be able to give you a small honorarium in terms of paying you to speak. You're also going to find a lot of them can't. When you get to the conference level, it's usually more common. Not everyone. A lot of them are able to pay you something for speaking. It goes from there. So, fabulous opportunities getting yourself out there. The next thing for you, of course, is to implement your strategies. What are you going to do? So think about your website, planning the content that's on there, planning what page is in which order, when you're going to put it together, whether you're doing it yourself, having someone else, etc. So plan for that. Plan for each of your social media sites. If you get a calendar out, how many days can you put in a couple hours to get your profiles up to date? Plan your communications out to your network. Plan your networking engagement, time to do it online and time to go to events. Give yourself time to write. Make that fun time. Be in a really fun place where you get creative and brainstorm and plan to speak. It's your choice. It's up to you what you want to do with all of that. What is the support that's available to you? There's support from your own network. People that you know are more than happy to be on your side, just like you're more than happy to be on the side of people in your network too. The Center for Coaching Certification offers support. We have, of course, programs like this. You've got your opportunities for guest blogging and guest speaking with us. You have your opportunity to get published with us, to get listed on the directory with us. We also have our business development team through the Center for Coaching Solutions, where we are actively out there seeking contracts and placing graduates in those contracts. So what's the application of all of this for you? So I'm curious. And by the way, I think we've answered all the questions as we went through. If you have an additional question, please, or you feel like I didn't answer it, go ahead and get it back in that question panel so I can respond to it. And I'm also going to ask all of you, what did you get out of this conversation? What is your new insight? And while I'm looking for those answers, I'm going to give you a moment. Let's see, somebody asked about the proposals on diversity and inclusion. We had done that. We reviewed all those, and all the speakers have been selected for that. The information on the ACTO conference is on their website. It's actoonline.org, and you can check out the information for this year's conference. Let's see. I'm looking at what came in. Yeah, and somebody asked about when you're speaking, yes, choose groups that include people that are part of your ideal clientele. So excellent. Somebody said they like the challenge to reach out to the Rotary clubs. And so they're excited about that. Somebody else said reassurance, reinforcement of their planning. We got some thank yous. We've got reach out to a few places to submit writing opportunities. Great. And you listed one on your site, on your comment. I'm going to say, I hope you do with us too. Please reach out. Somebody else said, yeah, really work on blogging and getting into speaking again. So great. I'm really glad you got some good insights. The next question for you is, and somebody said more LinkedIn involvement. Somebody said, what is your, let's see. Oh, no. Okay, good. So we got lots of things coming in too. Question for you. What is your goal? What do you want out of all this. Because when you're intentional and you know where you're going, guess what? You're a coach. You know how this works. When you know what you want and how you're going to get there, you're more likely to make it happen. So excellent. And here's the real push. What will you do to achieve what you want? And that choice is totally yours. It's up to you. So the website, I'm going to give you the website where the conference is. In the question panel, I'm going to respond to that, and I just put it out for everyone so you can capture that website. And I love that I've got people sharing their goals. That's awesome. It's a way to go. All right, very quickly for all of you, I realize we've used our time. The International Coach Federation is a resource for those of you that are members. Take the time to get yourself listed on their Find a Credentialed Coach directory. Center for Coaching Certification. If you're a graduate, you can list yourself on findacertifiedcoach.com. And then through Center for Coaching Solutions, we, as I said, we're actively doing that business development. If you are interested in being part of the business development team, let us know that. If you're interested in being available as a coach, let us know that too. We absolutely want to hear from you. The Coach Federation website is coachfederation.org. Center for Coaching Certification is coachcert.com. Center for Coaching Solutions is housed within Center for Coaching Certification. And we also have our blog, and that's where you can guest blog if you want. One of the places, coachingblog.coachcert.com. The books that we put out every year, we publish a new book. If you're a graduate, you have a chance to write a chapter for one of these. And of course, we do put out a newsletter letting you know what else is coming. Do feel free to call or email, quick check-in. If you are interested in outsourcing, we support coaching programs. We provide coach training and coaching services. If you want to outsource, let's talk. We'll schedule some time with you. For you personally as a coach, think about your action plan. Go back to your coach training, the learning from there. Be intentional with your skill application. If you want to complete coach training, some of you have done the initial program, go on and take the next one and join the ICF. Let us know. We're happy to support that. And if you want help finding a coach, let us know with that too. Absolutely about serving you. I am going to say, I know I've used my time. I've got a couple of you saying thank you and that you have to jump. I'm going to hang around. There's still a bunch of you here, and it looks like I'm still getting questions in. So I'm going to hang around as long as you're here and make sure we get all those questions answered. So let's see. One comment said, be sure on what the client wants. So respond to that. I love that comment. Complete writing your coaching article. Yes, do it. Get it out there. So somebody asked, oh my goodness. Okay, so let me see if I can keep up with all of these. Suggestions on how to have the fees conversation with friends when they reach out for coaching. So you have a couple of choices. Your first step with talking about money with friends is to decide what it's going to be. So I know some coaches that it's just the same fee for everybody, period, dot. I know other coaches that have what they call a friends and family discount. And either way, once you know what it is, that helps you be prepared. So then when somebody says, how much do you charge? Answer them right away and then tell them what that gives them. So if somebody says, how much is your coaching? Maybe you say, coaching is $200 a session. The initial commitment is 6 sessions, so you do that up front, and thereafter it's your choice on an ongoing basis of whether or not you want to continue. What does that include for you? And then you go on and you explain what you offer them in that coaching engagement for that fee. Feel free to ask them, what are your thoughts or questions? And you can find out where they're at with it. I hope that helps. If you have a follow-up question to that, please just put it in. If you are not certified and cannot join the ICF, so here's your big challenge. Technically, legally speaking, you're okay. Increasingly, coaching is either going to self-regulate as a profession or government is going to regulate us. That's what's going on. That's the real world. It's what every profession before us has had happen. ICF is working really hard on the self-regulation. They are in the forefront. They're pretty much the gold standard. So increasingly, we know that companies looking for a coach and even individuals are asking whether or not you're part of ICF. When you take out your insurance for your coaching business, they ask whether or not you're part of ICF. It is becoming the gold standard. So do you have to do it now? No. Is that coming? Yes. Because if government regulates, the first thing they're going to do is go to the ICF and say, okay, how should we regulate this? That's what they've done with the other professions. And if it's self-regulation, it's going to be through the ICF. Our recommendation to you is if you are out there promoting your coaching services, that ICF membership is a minimum standard. And then when you want, go on and look at credentialing. Let's see. Oh, somebody said lots of good information and they want to get more. So here's what I'll say. The recording will be on YouTube. I will send all of you a link to it so you can access it again. In terms of steps to be a guest blogger or to write a chapter in our book, we do have that on our website, so you can check that out. In addition to that, for a guest blog, I'll say it's pretty simple. Write 200 to 300 words on a coaching topic, email it to me. And we'll look at guest blogging. I do like to put your picture up if you want your picture up. I want to know where you want me to link to, whether it's a website or your social media profile, so that when we publish it, we can link to you and give you credit for it. And we'll go from there on a blog. If you want to guest present, be a guest speaker, you put together a PowerPoint, same concept, you email it to me, we talk about it, and we schedule. And so we love those opportunities for all of you. In terms of a way to get certified without going through a formal program, there absolutely isn't. Think about it this way. If I'm a dentist and I say, okay, now I want to be a medical doctor, why do I have to go back to medical school? I already did it. I'm a dentist. We have a lot of people with professions where you have very similar skill sets. The application is so completely different. Coaching is different than any experience in, for example, mental health, in teaching, consulting, etc. And it is absolutely essential to have training that is specific to the coaching. So hopefully that answers that question. If you have more, I'm happy to hang around or even to talk offline and give you more details on that. Let's see. And yes, there are, okay, here's a great news for you. There are affordable options for training. I do know that at the Center for Coaching and Certification, we work super hard to keep our prices where they are affordable for everyone, and we get a lot of positive feedback in that regard. I also know that ACTO does scholarships for people because their objective is to increase access to coaching services and to coach training. And so when people want a scholarship for a coach training program, you can apply to ACTO and use the scholarship at one of the ACTO schools. So there are opportunities for that, absolutely. So great questions there. And I think the other ones I'm seeing are saying thank you, that it was really helpful. I'm so glad you appreciate this. I think I've answered everything that is here. So I'm going to say thank you to all of you. I definitely appreciate having you here. Let us know what else we can do to be helpful. We're super excited about staying in touch and building the network with you. So thank you, everybody.